What's up, folks? It's 2bricks and I'm back in with another review. This is a sponsored video today from MOCBOXING, who sent me this kit to build for free. These are official Lego pieces that are used to make this MOC that you see here before you from FlyInSpace. I actually already previously did a separate FlyInSpace review for the AT hauler set, and that one was a really fun experience. And I also had this second one ready to go, and so I wanted to go ahead and throw in the review for that as well, so you guys know my opinions on both of these. They're quite different, that's why I chose them. The AT hauler is more of a larger scale display model, and this is more of a little sort of not playset, but you know, like sort of a minifig scale model that has a lot more different sort of thin, complicated assemblies and angles. And so I wanted to take a stab at something that's more on the complicated end of things. So yeah, this is the Eta-2 Jedi Interceptor that is in Obi-Wan's color scheme from I believe it's from the later half of Revenge of the Sith, after his initial one gets destroyed in the opening scene, and it looks great. So yeah, we're going to be reviewing that today, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of the info about MOCBOXING that I sort of a recap from before, I guess. But one exciting new development is my latest creation, and that is the Advent calendar. My ultimate Star Wars Advent calendar is now available on their site. So if you want to have all the pieces sent over to you, that's what you can do. So just to quickly recap, MOCBOXING is a service that will order the parts that you need to build a certain MOC for you and package them up and send them to you. So that there's no hassle, no dealing with multiple sellers. MOCBOXING is also continually updating their algorithm to try to reduce the cost of parts so that they can become more and more competitive with just ordering straight from Bricklink. That's what they're attempting to do. But of course, it is a premium service. You know, you're paying for somebody to oversee the shipping of multiple different packages from different sellers, count everything, you know, box it up for you, and then also of course the cost of shipping and all of that stuff. So you know, this is like I say, it's a premium service that you're paying extra for. But it's something that I think a lot of people have value in, especially who don't have a lot of time and or understanding of you know, how Lego MOC making and building and gathering and sourcing parts works. And so you are paying extra for that premium. So that's MOCBOXING. So now let's get in and take a look at the little ship itself. It's a really fun, cute little build, but it's got a lot of really crazy, intricate stuff in it. So I'm excited to show you guys all the little weird angles and things. So let's dive in and take a look. So I should note that this model was built without the use of the stickers, but the sticker sheet does come included as part of the package. So I did receive the sticker sheet. I just did not want to apply the stickers, and the reason for that is it just makes me very, very unhappy and uncomfortable to apply stickers across multiple parts, and there was a call for that within this model. And I didn't want to just apply one of the stickers or leave off one and do some of the others. So I just decided to leave them all off and just give you a look at the base Lego model itself. And so that's what I have here. There's also the addition of these two swords or spear tip pieces here that are suggested to just simply be dropped into these little slots that are left here, sort of these little gaps in the canopy piece. And so if you want to fill those in just a little bit more, you can do that. They don't attach in any meaningful way. You literally just drop them into place, and as such, when you pick up and move the model, they're very easy to drop and lose. And as if to illustrate that point, I actually have misplaced one of them in the time since I built this to recording this video. So yeah, I don't know, I think you probably just leave those off. They don't really add a ton, in my opinion. I think that the canopy looks fine as is. Being as how this is a really, really stripped down, scaled down minifigure scale model here, you know, you're looking at there's a lot of obviously design compromises that have to happen in order to achieve that, and I think that the canopy is perfectly fine without the addition of those spear tips. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to lose the other one now, and there that is off to the side. I like the use of this Porg head or BB-8 head here to represent the astromech. You know, it fits in. Obviously, this it's a shame that it's like an unprinted piece, but it fits with exactly, you know, the scale here of what an R2 unit really should be in the universe, which is kind of funny that we have, like, we're so used to our 2x2 domes, but they really aren't minifigure scale. So yeah, FlyInSpace went ahead and supplied their own version for that. And then you can see down in here just the sheer level of complexity with all of the different parts and the way that they're attached, and the one-by-one elements that all just click in different directions. It makes for that very flexible, fragile feeling final build where you really don't want to touch it very much. and that is, the nature of many of FlyInSpace's builds, not all of them certainly, but the ones that are designated as display models, like this one. And then we have the cutout sections here in the wings, and then the representation in here for the for the opening fins here that are brick built. So a little kind of tie inspired side fins. So those cannot be folded down all the way. They go about this far, and then on the bottom they're kind of fixed in here just by virtue of the parts that they're used that are used to attach them. They can't bend in any further than that. So you really are intended to just set them at their correct angle and leave them. The cockpit here is again very stripped down and very minuscule, because this is intended to be a properly minifigure scaled ship, and it is tiny in universe. I really love the technique in here for the little kind of side armor plates, and especially using 2 more of these sword tip parts but in the dark blue. I think that's a really great technique. And then we have just a little bit of indication down in here for the gray sort of outlining of the canopy, just to give a little bit more of the indication of that this is that specific canopy piece. And yeah, I think overall, the look, the proportions feel pretty much perfect, and the techniques that are used will leave you scratching your head. There's a couple of things that I was like unsure if I was even doing correctly, like for example these binocular pieces. It kind of looks like, and it sort of feels like, you're supposed to use the thicker part of the binocular here to clip into this little space on the tile underneath there to hold this tile more in place. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the case, or if you're just supposed to kind of line it up underneath here and leave it be. It's a little bit unclear in the instructions, but there's a million little weird things like that. Or like attaching, just having these bars clip into the ends of these clip pieces here. I never would normally think to do that. That's just a crazy technique to me. And it does result in, this whole cannon assembly feeling very floppy. So once again, you just put it in the angle that you want, you set it and you leave it, and that's that. So yeah, really definitely not a model to be played with, a model to be built once and looked at and appreciated. Also, I wanted to mention, it does come with this stand that is included here, but I do feel like the model is just slightly too front heavy to really make that work. And I think if this stand was moved forward like 1 extra brick, or maybe 2, well, 1 would probably be okay, that you would be able to have this thing be a lot more straight. Right now it wants to kind of tip forward a lot. There's this section back here that's kind of just held in place, so you can see that moving, but it's held in sufficiently. Once you put in the final part of the assembly, it locks it from actually falling out of the build, so that's cool. I always appreciate techniques like that, because it's just interesting to see the ways in which Lego can be coerced into doing what you want it to do, and that's really cool. So yeah, let's dive into some of the specific parts that I had trouble with, and then we'll wrap up my thoughts on this little model here. So area number 1 that gave me a lot of trouble, and that continues to give me a lot of trouble, is everything from here through down into this part. You can see here when you move it, it just wants to all bend and flex and kind of come out of alignment. And I guess, if this technique that I'm not sure is a technique, which is the binocular piece pinching in under here and holding this plate in place, I can't get it to work reliably, but I guess if that is the intent, then that would sort of help to lock this assembly together a bit more. But as it is, this all wants to come out constantly, and that's one of my least favorite aspects of the build. And then up here at the front, you do get a lot of gaps in here just by virtue of how all of this was connected, but I think that that's perfectly forgivable and worth it for the overall proportion, which is just absolutely bang on correct here for the angles and stuff. So I really don't mind that at all. And then same goes for back here. There's a little bit of compromise in terms of this area not extending back further and being like the sort of mirroring the shape of these wing assemblies here. And again, totally forgivable because that's just part of the design, so I don't mind that at all. But the actual central cockpit part was pretty easy to put together. The underside here had so many different little elements that I didn't know what I was building until I put it in place, and then I had to like scratch my head and take a second look at it. But once it all comes together, it's very, very satisfying. This technique back here has a slight bit of finesse that is required to it, but I always have to continually readjust, so you have to just pull these clips out just a little bit so that there's enough room to sit alongside this little assembly here. So yeah, there's a lot of finessing And pretty much every time you handle it, you'll want to then go back and refinesse all the different parts that are knocked out of alignment to get everything to fit just right. But I really appreciate the angle here that you get with the wings coming down. That all feels really nice and correct. I really appreciate these angles down here, like specifically this outside edge angle. Very, very satisfying, and the color blocking and all that is really, it's really ambitious, and the way that it's achieved is really cool to behold, but it's just a real pain to put together and play with in any meaningful way. So again, and yeah, there you go. And so these side wings here do tend to rotate themselves out of alignment a little bit, so you just have to rotate those back just by virtue of the 1x1 bar here with the, or the 1x1 rounded plate with the bar extension being the only meaningfully useful way to attach these wings like so. So you do end up just with that little bit of play in there. But yeah, being a very wobbly model overall, the fact that it is minifigure scale gives it a big bonus in my book. And the fact that so much of the shaping and angles has been captured so beautifully, it is a thing certainly worthy of beholding. And I do recommend giving this one a build if you're into like really crazy techniques and ways to connect things that you probably never thought about before. There's a lot of the kind of using the minifigure or roller skate pieces here to just like for example, in this instance here, it's used to act as a guide for where this blue portion is supposed to be, and then this just keeps it tucked into place. But then there's other spots like under here where you're actually, this whole assembly is attached in just using the ends of those roller skate pieces. Then you're clipping a plate here into those, which is again not a legal technique by Lego standards, but it's just something that is had to be done in order to be able to have this work. And yeah, there's just a ton of that stuff on here. So again, it's something that can act as almost a tutorial for how the Lego system can be pushed to its limits, and that is something I really appreciate about it. And one last thing I wanted to note, this MOC actually inspired me. I was inspired to take on the challenge of creating a minifigure scale Eta-2 Interceptor because I saw that this existed, and I saw how tiny it was, and I saw how admirably the shape had been captured. I wanted to have a go at it myself, but with the caveat that I wanted to be able to see if a minifig could be included. So obviously I've made my own whole list of compromises for my design, and I also have a full video about it. I have the red and the yellow versions available, but this model right here was the initial impetus for me to give that a go, because I'd seen over the years so many people doing the standard pre-existing Lego cockpit piece for this, the large like 8x6 cockpit piece, and scaling it to that. And I just started to believe that there really wasn't a practical way to capture this ship at the scale. And then when I saw FlyInSpace did it, I just thought, well, then I can do it too. And so that's one of the cool things about Lego. We all get inspired by each other's builds, and then we build on our own ideas on top of it, and so on it goes. Hopefully someone will be inspired by mine, and so on and so forth. So I really wanted to thank FlyInSpace for inspiring me on that. I definitely knew when I was building this that I was not going to be able to achieve any of these crazy techniques. To be able to just wrap my head around building it was hard enough. Thinking these up is really, really, really just blows my mind. And it's a lot of these moments where you just think like, how did you think to do that? Where did this idea come from? And then, and so I really appreciated that just for the sheer head scratchiness of this build. And it does look great, and I will be displaying this for some time to come on my shelf. So thank you very much to FlyInSpace for designing this really awesome build, and thank you to MOCBOXING for sending this to me in a very hassle-free and awesome way, where I just received a single box with all my parts. For my two builds, they were separated out and bagged up. I had numbered bags. Not the number bags don't correspond to the instructions how Lego sets do, but I had like, bag 1 of 4, 2 of 4, etc., for the first one, and then same goes for this one. And I also ended up with a whole bunch of extra parts. That's something that MOCBOXING does as well. They order extra parts to act as a contingency. So if your Bricklink seller is messes up and doesn't send you, or doesn't send them the parts that they need to include for your inventory, there's some extra included, and they give you those extra pieces because that's technically that is your money that you're paying for those parts with. So they make sure that you have everything that you've paid for, and in that case as well, it's the extra parts too. So you do end up with a big pile of spares that you can put into other MOCs or make little changes or things like that with. And the other thing I really appreciate about MOCBOXING is that they do send you the sticker sheets as well. So a lot of companies that do Lego MOC making kits that they put together, they will, especially ones that don't use actual Lego bricks, will not send you printed parts or sticker sheets, and that's something that MOCBOXING does do. So big thumbs up for their service for that. And like I did mention in the previous video, but I just wanted to reiterate, they are also doing a lot of other cool and interesting stuff, custom box art for certain things, custom sets. You can actually reach out to Alex and ask him about some of the upcoming cool ideas and crazy stuff that they're working on, because they're continually expanding and coming up with new ideas and new services to offer to us here in the Lego MOC making and aftermarket community. So really appreciate that, and I really enjoy the MOCBOXING service. Even though I do acknowledge that Lego is already an expensive hobby, and adding extra premium cost on top of that is a burden for some that they are just not willing to do. If you're somebody who values convenience and innovation with different ways to source things, yeah, do give them a look if you're interested. And that's going to about wrap up my thoughts for today. So thank you once again to MOCBOXING for sponsoring this video. Thanks to FlyInSpace for the awesome design. And thank you to all of my viewers and patrons. If you guys do want to support the channel, you can leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, leave a like, whatever you want to do, or a thumbs down, that helps too. Doesn't matter to me. I want to hear your honest thoughts and your feedback, so leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes. And if you do want to be a patron of mine, you can check out my Patreon page down below. And of course, support the channel that way. It means the world to me. My patrons are the most wonderful people, and they're helping me to continue to do this, continue on my Lego journey and build and do crazy projects for you guys. So yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. And speaking of which, we're going to be shouting out patron Logan B today. Logan B is one of my patrons who is eligible for a shout out in my video. So that's what I'm doing right here. Thank you to Logan B for supporting my work. I really appreciate it, and hopefully you enjoy hearing me say your name on camera. So there you go. And yeah, if you want to be like Logan and join the crew, then jump on over to Patreon, check out the tiers and see what you like. And other than that, I will see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.